Well, welcome to Tea Time with Rebel Kate. Today we have Cassandra Dainel. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely fabulous. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so glad to be doing this with you.
I thank you. It's really great to have you here today. What goes into selling a house?
It's actually quite intensive, or it can be, depending on how long the person has lived there and whether it was their primary home or vacation home or even a rental property. On the seller's side, it really is about going through and basically limiting their own personal items, because you kind of need to make that house, that space, speak to the broadest amount of people, because you don't know who's looking for that home and what their purpose is for. So if it's designed to your taste and your personality, you could be not meaning to, but it's, and I don't want to say a turnoff, but it doesn't attract them the way that it could if it had less of your personality and more of a broader, I guess, theme, clean colors and lines and shapes, not a lot of clutter, are just, those little fancy things that we tend to collect over the years. And so on the seller side, it's about going through and decluttering. And I do have on my power team stagers, which will go through and help the sellers understand things that could be attractors and detractors so that they can help make those decisions. And it helps the seller too, because if they are moving, trying to downsize, it gives them the opportunity to really decide, what do I need to keep? What can I get rid of? So they can sell, give away, donate, pass on to family members, go ahead and get that done now type of thing. But on my side, it's about researching, what's sold in the area so that I can help them come up with the best pricing and getting my marketing together for that property.
The first thing that came to mind, you said declutter, right? So I was thinking, well, if a family's moving out, right? It's no longer the house that they want anymore. It's not the one that they're content with, that works for them. So it's almost like if you have the exact same sort of family in a parallel universe moving in, then it kind of defeats the purpose, right? The house is like saying, no, it's time for you all to go. We need the new people to come. I don't know. It's still early and I'm still working on this stuff right here. So, oh goodness.
I totally get it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I was thinking about these questions last night, and I was like, to me, houses are kind of like people. We all have different personalities, different quirks, different things that draw people to us, and also deflect people from us. And houses are buildings; they are basically inanimate objects, but we kind of put personalities on them, and based off of whoever's interacted with it, who built it, who lived in it, who painted it, who did the landscaping, who did the decorating. So all of those things help make the character or the personality of the home. And it's the same with people too. Everybody who's interacted with us in our entire lives help shape who we are at our core, and how we interact with people, and what people see or read or gain from us.
It's like, what do they say? The 5 people that you surround yourself with the most are the direct reflection of who you are. The new saying should be 5 people in the house that you live in are a direct reflection of who you are. Do you ever have to deal with landscaping outside, or do people usually just have a landscaper come in and tidy up and get it ready, or do you help them decide what should go there?
It can happen. There are some sellers, and typically I would think, in my opinion, in my experience, it's been rental properties that they are wanting to sell, and obviously they're trying to make it most appealing to the most people. So even though you're an investor and it was your rental property, it may not be an investor who buys it. So you need to make it look appealing to maybe the family, the first-time home buyer, or whatever the case is. And so sprucing up the landscaping does have a lot to grab that first person, their attention first. It's called curb appeal. And so making sure you have fresh paint inside and out. Pressure washing. A lot of times the paint is good. Exterior paint does hold up, a good part of the time. Florida sun, sometimes it fades, but a good pressure washing, making sure you mulch around, bushes, put some bright flowers and things. It definitely helps the curb appeal and grab the attention in the photos, because and that's a whole nother thing when it comes to photos and real estate.
Well, I mean, and the thing, with the last few months and the social distancing and the safe measures, I've been noticing people are doing almost full videos of walkthroughs, and and it's amazing because lighting a light bulb can change the entire feel of a room. Do you ever go into a room and say, "This would look a lot better if it just had a warm light rather than this fluorescent light"?
Absolutely. We don't think about it a lot, but a lot of times it is those very fine details that will make or break how somebody feels or what shows up in a photo. And customers all the time say, you tell a lot from a photo. Yes, but photos can also hide a lot too. So, and the thing with being in real estate and with me and my business, I want to be transparent. So I do what's going to show the property in the best light, obviously, because the idea is to get it sold without hiding any of its defects or repairs that need to be met. But a lot of times you're correct, just changing the lighting, making sure that the floors have a high shine, especially if they're wood floors, making sure the baseboards are dusted, just those fine, because things will show up in photos. I had one listing appointment in a nice older home filled with family stuff, because it was an estate sale. So there was just old silver and china just practically everywhere. It was nice. It was beautifully set up, but it was just a lot. And on their dining room table, they had a tablecloth. It was beautiful, but it was wrinkled. And when we took the photos, that's what you saw, were the wrinkles. You know what I mean? It kind of detracted from it. I didn't think about it either. But so those are those things, those learning things that I'm like, okay, let's see, what do we have here? Are the drapes nice and steamed, or the because it's those little things that will just show up, and they're like, oh.
Oh, it makes me want to go in my room and look at it as if I were about to take a picture and post it on the internet. Like, what would people notice most about me in this? Yeah.
It would be a good living experience.
I should. We can start a photography class. Go into your room and we'll analyze everything.
Right. Well, and it's funny because when I look through photos now on the MLS, I'm like, what are these people thinking with the photos that they're allowing? I mean, the sellers too, you're allowing your realtor to put these photos up of your home that you're trying to sell. Did you look at these first?
Yeah.
I was just looking at one this morning. I was just like, I feel like it's a disservice to your client, the seller, to do that. Yeah. I hate to use the words never, but I mean, that would be, a rare occurrence, I would think. I mean, if their budget just did not allow, and I wasn't in a position to be able to cover the cost of photos for them, but I would so totally steer away from doing photos on your phone or just a cheap camera. It's not the same. And honestly, you can get a good photographer, and it's really isn't that expensive. So.
Right. And it almost kind of does that cross-purposing of businesses, I don't know, have a photographer on, like, hey, it's time, I need you to come take pictures of this house. Like, oh, I'm so excited. Yeah. Well, have you ever had just a really great success story where you've had a client who was looking for something, they were discouraged a little bit when they come to you and they like, we don't really know, we want something, and then you find the one for them, and it just changed their entire demeanor? Have you ever had one of those clients?
Absolutely. I had first-time home buyers, a lovely couple, a large family. They were older couple with large families, but they only had their youngest children still living at home. And we started the process and started looking. They were in a lower price point. And, everybody comes and they have this idea of where they want to live and, what they're looking for, which is great. If you know what you want, it makes your realtor's job a lot easier. But getting to know them and getting a little bit of idea of their taste and how their family works, they're like extended family for me now. we looked everywhere in the area that they wanted to be in, but with their price point, we just were not finding what was going to fit for them. And so they ended up having to sign a new lease. So our time period ran out. They ended up, signing a new lease. And when it came, the next year, we started looking again. And I'm telling you, we found a home before we stopped the process. Before we found a home that was on a canal in Tavares, and just had tremendous potential for them. We've actually even got an executed contract, but the amount of work with their financing, it just wasn't going to work out. So we ended up having to cancel that. But we found them the perfect little home when we started looking again on this beautiful lake. They've got a huge backyard, beautiful lake, and it's just that they post pictures of it, that nice, beautiful, screen room that they can enjoy their nature, and it was just absolutely amazing to see that come together for them in the price range that they wanted. And I love it. And they're sending me pictures, all the time of the different updates that they're doing in the home, and I absolutely love it.
What are your thoughts on painting the outside of the house black? Is it trendy? Because I want it to be trendy. I really want it to be. I mean, I guess Florida or the heating bill would probably raise up because of it, but
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in Florida for sure. I would have to say there's probably a place for just about everything under the sun that you want to do to a home. It's just finding the right place where it would be appealing to the most people. Because at the end of the day, if you have a property that you want to sell, you want to sell it. And if you're looking for a property to buy, you want a property that you can buy. So the ultimate goal is to get that property transaction completed, and a black house in Florida may not be the thing to do.
okay. Fine, I understand. Actually, I saw, speaking of I guess things that absorb heat, I saw you post an article about how solar panels actually can add to the value of your home. Can you tell me a little bit about why that is and how that works?
Absolutely. In today's society, it seems that a lot of people are more and more about, reducing their carbon footprint, and they want to be, I guess, responsible with the energy that we have, the renewable energies and things like that. And so with solar power, it doesn't replace your electric bill, but it significantly can reduce your electric bill because you are using solar panels to either heat your water or for actual power in your home for lighting and AC and things like that. A lot of people in Florida have pools, so a lot of solar panels are for heating the pools and running the pool pumps. So it helps add value to the home because you're buying a home that will have a lower, carbon footprint, lower energy bill. And that's very important. I mean, one of the buyers I'm working with now, we're kind of deciding between two different properties. And one of the things they did, and I suggest this doing if you're shopping for a new home, call the power company, find out what the average bill was from the previous, person. And, everybody uses energy differently. So what it will tell you is what their average bill was. So you can kind of get an idea of how much am I going to be spending, or can I expect to spend if I use it normally in that home. And so it kind of helped them really see which home may be better for them based off their bills or how much they wanted to spend. And of course, depending on your usage, you may be more frugal with your power than I am, so you may actually could cut that bill even more. But something definitely to do, and everybody wants a lower power bill. Who wants to pay the power company, right?
Nobody, nobody wants to. Um, but I mean, if it added to the value of a home, I feel like it would be a great decision for at least someone who's potentially about to sell their home to, I mean, maybe it would be one of those investments that you want to do like for windows, like kind of get it done in the beginning so that you can reap the benefits of not having to pay as much. You can save it for later. But I have really one more question for you. What drew you to being a real estate agent? What what kind of put it on your heart is to think like, this is what I'm going to do. This is what is right for me. What happened? How did that happen for you?
Wow, that's a loaded question, honestly. I remember as a child always being fascinated by buildings and architecture. So I've always been kind of drawn to what we people shelter ourselves with. And growing up, I found myself in the line of work. I was in property management. So I kind of fell into helping people find places to live and managing those places to live. And 5 years ago, January, I lost my husband to cancer. And before he passed, he had encouraged me, and my boss had encouraged me to get my real estate license. And I never really needed to make it active and use it. I just kept up with it over the years. And when he passed away, I was like, I had a young son. He was 8 at the time. And my husband now had encouraged me. He says, why don't you find a job that you can have more time to spend with your son? You know, he just lost his dad. He really needs his mom. And I was like, okay, Lord, what do I do? And my real estate license popped in my head. I was like, well, okay, I can actually make it active, and I can go to work, you know, for myself instead of working for somebody else. I can build my own schedule and help people find places to live, because that's never going to go away. Everybody's going to always need a roof over their head. And I'm passionate about helping people see dreams come alive, to chase that goal and see it to, you know, accomplished. And a lot of times, a lot of my buyers are first-time home buyers, and they come to me with, I want to own a home, but I just don't see how it can happen. So taking those people, you know, from the start of that journey to the conclusion and giving them their first set of keys is an amazing, amazing feeling.
It's awesome. That's beautiful. Do you do you still find how, I know I said one more question. Here's another one. um, do you still do you still admire the architecture? Do you still like sometimes walk into a home and just like feel overcome by how the layout is? And
Absolutely. And I guess to me, history and architecture kind of go together, because I had the opportunity when I was much younger to live in Europe, and Europe is just so much older than the US. And so just the history and the buildings and the architecture, that's where my love of it came from, is being able to live there as a child. And so absolutely, I see homes and I'm like, oh, I wonder what that looks like inside, you know, and then I'll walk into homes and I'm like, wow, you know, this is a really good layout, or you know, this is a poor layout. It's funny to see, you know, homes from different ages, different stages of, you know, life in the U.S. You know, some homes that are, you know, those 2-bedroom, 1 baths that were built for the military, you know, around the military bases. And, you know, they were functional at the time, not so much nowadays for most families, but it's just neat to see, you know, how, because it's a progression of time, you know, how we've moved through society. Like I said, every person has their own story. Every home has its own story too.
absolutely. Okay, one more question. Do you have a favorite time period, like country or of like origin?
Well, I was actually born in Germany. So that's where I spent most of my childhood. I was 13 when we moved to the States for the last time. And so I love Germany. I do feel like that's home, even though I'm not German. I think there's some German lineage way back when, but my dad was in the army, and so that's why we were over there. And so I would say Germany it would be my favorite country, because it's got everything. It's got beaches, it's got forests, it's got mountains, it's got, you know what I mean? So there's just like every kind of landscape there that you can think of. And the culture is so old yet diverse still, you know, and it's one of the most beautiful countries to travel through. And if you don't speak the language, you would be fine, because of the heavy US and English presence during World War II, or, you know, shortly after World War II. Most of their population speaks English at some level. So you don't even need to know the language and it's just amazing. I mean, the food is so different there, because their regulations on food is so different from us. But as far as time period, I've always felt that I was born way past my era. I've always enjoyed fashion and clothing, and I don't know why. I'm sure it was probably torturous to women of the day, but I love the whole corsets and hoop skirts.
Me too. Me too. I love it. If I could get away with it and be able to breathe, I'd be very happy with it. By the way,
Right.
my German grandmother is going to love this interview, just so you know. She's going to be so happy.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. What part of Germany? What was the base or the area?
Well, I was born in Ansbach, and I was actually born in a German hospital. My sister was born in Nuremberg in the Army hospital, the American Army hospital there. So my dad, I think, was stationed in Nuremberg, but we lived in Ansbach at the time. We lived outside of Frankfurt for a good while and Hahn Air Force Base. But yeah, I last time I was there, I lived up in Bremen. So I was born in southern Germany. The last time I lived there for 2 months was up in northern Germany.
Awesome. My grandma's from Dresden, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. I don't know exactly how close that is. I think it's actually other way, but yeah, that's incredible. What a neat, I didn't know that. That's very cool. All right. Well, it's almost 10 o'clock. I think tea time, I think it's tea time is over.
Okay.
Next time we'll have to wear corsets and do the hat thing and
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Maybe when the world opens back up and I come down to Florida, maybe we can actually have a real tea time. I think that'd be
That
nice.
would be awesome. That would be great.
All right. Well, everyone, this is Cassandra Dainel. She's awesome. Born in Germany, and she loves selling houses and making sure that it's the right one for at least what you're looking for. So if you're in the Mount Dora area or anywhere in Florida, hit her up. She's very nice and she will get you what you need. And we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.